If you just landed a new client or a freelance contract, you're probably seeing this form, the IRS Form W-9. Most people treat it just like a boring piece of tax paperwork, but if you check the wrong box here, you could be setting yourself up for a massive headache later. You could end up with a mismatched 1099 or an IRS notice. Hey y'all, I'm Nikita from Collective, and today we're going to walk through how to fill this out, whether you're receiving one as a single member LLC or sending one out to a freelancer that you're hiring. This is the official W-9, or if we want to be really official, the request for taxpayer identification number and certification. Basically, your client is saying, I'm going to pay you money, but I need to tell the IRS who you are so they can make sure that you're paying your taxes. So actually line 1 and 2 is the first place that folks start to make mistakes. Look at line 1. It says name as shown on your income tax return. If you are a sole proprietor or a single member LLC, you must put your individual legal name here, meaning the name that appears on your social security card. So let me do that. I'm Nikita. Even if you have a super cool name, like, I don't know, dope business name LLC. Even if it's a cool name, if you're the only owner and you haven't elected to be taxed as an S Corp, your personal name goes on line 1 and your business name goes on line 2. The IRS matches the name on line 1 with the number you provide later in the form. If you put your LLC name on line 1 and your social security number in the tax ID section, the IRS systems will flag it as a mismatch. Now, let's look at line 3, the federal tax classification. This is the section that could change as your business grows. If you are currently just you without a legal entity like an LLC or a stock corporation, check the first box, individual sole proprietor or single member LLC. If you do have an LLC, but you're the only owner, you still check that first box. You are what the IRS calls a disregarded entity. However, if you have a single member LLC and elected S Corp status, this is where your W-9 gets a major upgrade. You would check the limited liability company box and then enter the letter S in the space provided. This is a big moment for your business because it tells your client that you're operating as a more sophisticated tax entity. Checking that individual box is likely the correct option for new freelancers, but once you elect S Corp status, the S on line 3 is what could start saving you thousands in self-employment taxes. Lines 5 and 6 are your address. This is where your client is going to send your 1099 NEC at the end of the year. Make sure that this is an address you'll still have access to next January. If you move, you don't necessarily need to file a new W-9 immediately, but it is a good idea to send an updated one to your regular clients so your tax forms don't get lost in the mail. Now, we get to part 1, the taxpayer identification number or TIN. If you are a sole proprietor, you can use your social security number. However, if you don't want your clients having your social security number for security reasons, you can apply for an EIN or an employee identification number for free on the IRS website. I'd only recommend this if you are a sole proprietor and you don't have plans to form an LLC. Otherwise, when you do form the LLC, you need a new W-9, a new bank account, and it can just turn into kind of a logistical nightmare. Now, finally, we have part 2. This is the under penalty of perjury section. By signing this, you're certifying that your number is correct and that you aren't subject to backup withholding. Once you sign and date this, you send it back to your client. Don't send it to the IRS. They don't want it. Your client keeps it in their files so that next January, they can generate your 1099 accurately. You can save it in your files as well. You don't need to fill out a brand new one for every single client. Once you fill it out once, you can continue to send that same W-9 out to future clients, as long as the form year is the most recent one. Currently, we are working with the 2024 one. And as long as your address and other information is still correct. Now, if the roles are reversed and you are the one that's doing the hiring, you're hiring a freelancer, your job is to be the gatekeeper. Rule number 1 is that you get that W-9 before you send a single dollar. It is 10 times harder to chase down a tax ID in January when you're trying to file 1099s than it is when the contractor is still waiting for that first paycheck. Once you receive that form, check that everything that I mentioned earlier looks correct and it's all been filled out correctly. You don't send it to the IRS. Store it in a secure encrypted document folder, not just sitting in your downloads folder on your desktop, because it contains sensitive information like their social security number. For 2026, the reporting threshold has actually jumped up from $600 to $2,000. So you only have to issue a 1099 if you pay them at least that much in a calendar year. But honestly, collect a W-9 from everyone you hire for your business. It's better to have it and not need it than to realize in February that you're missing the info you need to stay compliant. And that's a W-9 in a nutshell. Keep it simple. Keep your personal name on line 1 unless you're an S Corp, and you'll be the easiest person your client's accounting team has ever had the pleasure to work with all year long. Thanks for sticking around with us. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments below, and be sure to like and subscribe for future content. We put out content every week specifically for solopreneurs. I'll see y'all next time. Bye.